Hello everyone, how are you? Can you all hear me well? If so, can you please just give me a thumbs up in the chat function, which should be down the bottom. So if you go to the chat function, little speech bubble, and just give me a thumbs up that I can make sure that you guys can hear me fine and you also can see the video fine. You can also use your microphones. I believe they actually have access to that as well. So if you want to use your microphones at any time during today's orientation session, please feel free to use that. But please let me know that everyone can hear me at this point in time. I can see 12 people are online at the moment, guys. And of course, I just want to make sure everything is working before we commence. So again, guys, can you please go to the chat function? You can either say everything is working fine or just click on the icon that allows you to use an emoji. And a thumbs up would be fantastic, guys, as we progress through today's presentation. Please also be mindful that we are recording this session just for a few students who potentially could not attend the session for a whole range of reasons. So we are recording it, guys. If you have any issues with that, just let me know as well. And if you do ask a question, I'm happy to see if we can edit the video later on. Okay, guys, I can't see anyone who has actually selected the thumbs up emoji to let me know. So if you can do that, please let me know that you can hear me fine. I just want to make sure that everyone can hear me before I progress through today's presentation. If not, I will assume that everything is good to go in the next 10 seconds before we get going. Alrighty, guys, I might just commence, okay? Please use the chat function to ask me a question throughout this presentation, or you should be able to use your microphones as well, okay? Now, I should introduce myself as well. My name is Kim Williams. I am the BSHAPA coordinator, so you'll get to know me a lot. And when I say BSHAPA, of course, I'm referring to the Bachelor of Sport, Health and Physical Activity. So welcome to this orientation session. I'm really looking forward to getting to meet you guys throughout the year. Of course, the reason that you're in this session means that you're enrolled in the BSHAPA degree. And this is a kind of an overview of what the BSHAPA degree is, as well as what you need to know prior to attending your first classes in week 1. Now, like I said, if you have any questions, guys, please ask away. We do have a function down the bottom there, the raise your hand function. So if you have a question, feel free to raise your hand, and I'm obviously happy to allow you to ask any question as we progress through. I will also give you an opportunity to ask a question right at the end. Again, if you prefer not to use your mic, please feel free to ask a question in the chat function. I can see it to the side. All right, let's progress through. So first and foremost, guys, Josh, I can see your hands up. Feel free to ask me a question. Or if that was a mistake, that's fine. Was that a mistake to raise your hand there, Josh? If that's the case, that's fine. We're going to continue to progress through. Okay, so let's just do the acknowledgement to country, okay? So we first wish to acknowledge and pay respect to the traditional custodians of the land upon which we meet. We would also like to acknowledge and pay respect to the elders of the land, both past and present. Alrighty, guys, let's begin. So, welcome to the Bachelor of Sport, Health and Physical Activity. Those who have obviously enrolled in the course understand that it's all about developing an understanding of the impact of sport and physical activity in the context of healthy lifestyle. Now, this degree will set the foundations for you both to become an effective professional in sport and physical activity careers, and also gives you a wide variety of knowledge across a range of different topics such as health, tourism, nutrition, disability, and business. So this is probably the reason why I've chosen this degree is not only does it give you a bit of a understanding of different areas related to sports and healthy living, but it can take you into a whole range of different areas. And we'll cover that today. So I want to introduce you to the teaching team first and foremost. So this is the Bachelor of Sport, Health and Physical Activity teaching team, and these are the ones that you'll mainly interact with, but there are a few additional teachers that you'll come across depending on what electives you have selected. But the major ones that you will come across is Associate Professor Shane Peel, who has expertise in health, physical education, and sports coaching. Then we have Dr. Sam Elliott, sports parenting, psychology, and coaching is his area of expertise. Dr. Kate Ridley, exercise science, physical activity, and education is an area that she knows very well, and you'll get to know Kate quite well. Professor Murray Drumming teaches the sports sociology topic, and a few of you will actually be involved with that topic in, I believe, in semester 1. We have Dr. Deb Agnew, who does teach sports sociology, but unfortunately she's currently on leave at the moment. So you may not get to see Deb until semester 2, or even the following year. Of course, my name is Dr. Kim Williams. I have a background in sports science. I teach strength and conditioning, biomechanics, and functional anatomy. So some of those topics are core. Well, one of them will be biomechanics. However, the other ones are more electives that you may come across. Then we have Josh Rankin. Now, Josh Rankin's a bit of a character. He's absolutely brilliant when it comes to outdoor education, health and physical education. He's someone that you're going to love throughout your degree. He's just a lot of fun, a lot of personality behind him, and I think that he's someone that you're going to obviously want to get to meet as you progress through your degree. And then we have Dr. Stefania Filato. She has expertise in public health and education, and again, you'll meet Steph as you progress through your degree, especially with electives. So let's go through some 4 steps to starting your BSHAPA experience. Now, these are really important 4 steps that you should be doing and thinking about this week. And of course, the first one is quite, it's directly aligned with what you're doing at the moment, and that's making the most of orientation. So getting a bit of a sense of what Flinders is, getting a sense of the BSHAPA degree, as well as the key information that you need to be aware of in order to make sure you start on the right foot. Then we're going to go through and getting your essentials sorted. So what do you need to do between now and the start of week 1 or early on in the semester? Getting prepared for study is something that obviously you need to be aware of, and we're obviously going to go through some resources that will help you do that, as well as get to know your support services. So what support services are available to help you support you through your BSHAPA journey over the next 3 to 4 years, depending on which options you take. So step 1, let's make the most of our orientation. So first and foremost, let's start off with the right foot. I want you guys to ask plenty of questions. I know that can be daunting because especially when you start university, it's brand new. Of course, you're going to be with other students who have similar interests, which is going to be brilliant, but you may not want to ask a question. So if that is the case, don't stress too much. Just build into obviously your own study habits as well as how you feel comfortable within asking questions within a topic. But I should note that eventually you're going to have to kind of try to push past that and ask as many questions as possible, because students who ask generally the most questions generally get the most out of topics. So please do that. And of course, when it comes to orientation in this session, I want you guys to ask plenty of questions. I also want you to engage with other available orientation sessions and activities that are currently going on this week. So if there are additional sessions going on that are related to the BSHAPA or even just study in general at Flinders University, I would highly advise that you undertake those sessions just to make sure that you do start on the right foot and you have an understanding of exactly all the resources available to make sure that you have a successful BSHAPA journey. And then the final one is probably the most important one, but I believe probably doesn't get done enough, and that is meet new people and build relationships. Again, it can be quite nerve-wracking the first time that you walk into a class, but try to build as many relationships as possible. Okay, and meet as many new people as possible, because trust me, you're going to be working with a lot of students, especially in group assessments, and the more people you know, the easier that's going to be. Okay, so please try to do that. Trust me, it's something that I wish I did a little bit more on when I first started as an undergrad student at UniSA. It's something that I just probably needed to spend more time on to make sure I build those relationships and connections, and that could be with students or lecturers. And we are happy to work with you guys and get to know each other a little bit more so we can best support your needs. Step 2 is getting your essentials sorted. So you need to organize the student ID card as soon as possible, okay? So you need to obviously request an ID card by selecting Order My ID Card under My Systems. Now, My Systems is something that you all have access through, and that is obviously through Flow. Now, if you have any issues, please use the students.edu.au/compass link, which will go through exactly what you need to do if you're struggling to find those links or have an understanding of exactly, what are the requirements to apply for a student ID card. Now, I believe there are certain requirements, such as you need to be taking more than 2 topics in order to apply. So 3 to 4 topics to attain a full-time student ID card. So if you're not doing that, there may be some other arrangements that need to be put in place. I would organise that straight away because it really underpins trying to order certain textbooks. Sometimes it comes with some discounts around the university, so the earlier you have it, the easier it's going to be in order to make sure that you get organised, as well as obviously try to cut some cost backs where required when you are obviously travelling around the university. Now, of course, you need to enrol in your topics. Now, if you have any issues with enrolling in your topics, please call the Enrolment Support Centre, which is 1300 354 633, and select option 2. If you leave your enrolments too late, you may not be able to get access to classes that you want, and I'm sure that some of you may have already found that out, where you wanted to attend one class but you can't because it's already been filled up. So if you get in early, guys, you can avoid that. Now, if you're having issues with enrolments, or let's just say that you want to attend a class but it won't allow you to do so because of an undefined reason, please make sure you submit an Ask Flinders request. And what the Ask Flinders request does, it means it goes to the university and they find the right person to answer that request. For example, you can't enroll into a topic because you haven't met one of the prerequisites, but you've undertaken study elsewhere, and therefore you may have met the prerequisites even though we're not aware of it. In that case, the request will come through to me. I'll review your request, what you've previously studied, and make sure that you get the required credits for you to either skip that prerequisite and go straight into the topic, or even skip the topic. So that's one of those ways that we can obviously work with you. Now, that is obviously not directly related to enrollment, but if you're struggling to enroll in a topic, it could be due to you haven't undertaken the right sequence of topics, and therefore it could be an issue with prerequisites. And there's ways that we can work with you to make sure that you can still undertake that topic if there's a legitimate reason for why we should allow that. Textbooks is another thing that you need to get onto very quickly. Now, I know textbooks can be very expensive, but just be mindful that the library does have access to some textbooks that you can borrow from time to time, or some topics actually have free access to a textbook that you have access through the whole topic with. So just keep an eye out for that. However, some topics won't allow you to do that, and you will need to buy your own textbooks, guys. Now, the beauty of the current system is we allow you guys to shop around and try and find where those textbooks are. So we will obviously let you know what textbooks you need to buy, and a lot of topics do it on the Flow site. If you don't know what Flow is, just in case, guys, it's Flinders Learn Online. It's the site that you would probably have to access your topics, which would have been made available for you today. But if you go through Flow, you will see that there will be details of textbooks, or if you go straight to the link that was provided here, okay, the link obviously says students.flinders.edu.au/mycourse/textbooks. It will take you to this link, and you just got to type in the topic name, and it will take you to what textbook has been defined for that topic, as well as if it's recommended or required. The big difference between those two, of course, if it's required, you should buy it, okay? It's required for a very good reason, and potentially you may find it difficult to complete that topic without it. If it's recommended, it's purely for that point that we recommend it because it may be helpful, okay? I would highly advise that you go into the textbooks straight away, guys, because it will take a bit of time for those to be delivered if you are going through an online source to acquire them. You can buy them on campus as well, but that's a little bit more challenging these days just due to obviously some changes that have happened with the way that we order textbooks. So more often than not, you can buy them through Booktopia or other avenues, and obviously search around for the best price, because sometimes you can get a real steal on a textbook that may be 40 to 50% off compared to what others may be paying. So have a look around and try and get onto that ASAP. Now, guys, I'm going to keep going through these slides unless someone has a question. Okay, so apologies that we are going through slides. I will, again, have an opportunity, guys, to ask questions at the end, and I actually will give you some additional detail that won't be in the slides as well right at the end, okay? But I'm going to keep going through unless anyone does have any questions, and if you do, please raise your hand. Alrighty, transportation. Transportation is an interesting one at Flinders University. There's many ways to get to the campus, okay? One way, and the most common way, is parking. But I've got to be mindful, I'll let you know that parking can be rather difficult. However, this year it may not be that challenging because of obviously some topics have gone online for very good reason, okay? Obviously with COVID restrictions, and we'll cover that eventually in regards to things that you need to be mindful of with COVID, but I won't cover it yet. But because of COVID, there may not be as many students, and therefore there may be a lot of parking spaces available for you guys to access. So it may not be an issue for the first semester. But in semester 2, where we are assuming to go back to face-to-face teaching for all topics, unless notified otherwise, that could be rather challenging, and therefore you may find it difficult to get a park. So I would organise your Flinders parking if you are having topics on at campus, because it is actually reasonably priced. Okay, I can't remember what the price is for students, but it is reasonably priced. And if you are travelling to campus, 2 to 3 times a week, it will pay off if you do get that parking permit, which you can acquire from that link. Okay, so the flinders.edu.au/parking. You can also share parking permits between vehicles. So if you do carpool with someone, but you may take different cars on certain days, you can also use that approach as well. Okay, that information is covered in that link. We obviously have the new railway extension, which is very exciting for the university. So you can obviously use that the railway surface, especially if you're north of the city or you live in the city, or even just along the train line. And therefore, if you take the train line, you don't obviously have to pay for parking, which will save you some cash. But of course, you're obviously paying for railway tickets. So if you can use that option, I would highly advise it, because it stops outside the medical centre. And obviously, it's probably a very convenient way to access the university, but be mindful where the railway stops. It's right at the bottom of the hill. And if you have to get up to education, education is at the top of the hill. So it can be a bit of a workout in order to get to your classes. But if you're comfortable with that, that may be a fantastic option. And then we have the Loop Bus. Now, I would highly advise that you download the Bus Minder app for real-time service information. Okay, so how to travel around the campus, as well as what bus services are available to get to Flinders University. Scholarships. Scholarships are available, and you'll be surprised in regards to what type of scholarships you guys have access to and what you'll be eligible for. So there is a wide range of scholarships available commencing in 2021, and of course we're in 2022, and those would obviously growing. Now, you do not have to be a top performing student to apply. Okay, there's many different ways that you can acquire a scholarship through the university. Now, if you go to this link here, it will take you to a screen that looks like this. And trust me, these are not all the scholarships. We have 2 pages of scholarships available for students, and this is just a snapshot of page 1, where you can go through and actually get a bit of a sense of what is available and what you may be eligible for. So please have a look at that, because some of you in this particular orientation session actually may be eligible for scholarships in order to help and assist with your study commitments. So please check them out, and I will check them out as soon as possible, potentially even after this presentation, so that you can get a bit of a sense of, again, what you can obviously apply for and what could be obviously of use for your help or assisting with your study based on a whole range of requirements. Wi-Fi, I'm sure you guys have questions about Wi-Fi access around the campus, because obviously it's critically important to undertake your study. If you have topics on campus for semester 1, which I'm assuming most of you guys would have at least one topic on campus. So the network is called URAM. Okay, you have to use your FAN, which will be your surname plus maybe 4 numbers, okay? And then you obviously have your university password, which of course you guys set for yourself, okay? So you just need to make sure that you find the network name, okay, enter your FAN and university password, and you obviously have access to the Flinders Wi-Fi throughout the whole campus, okay? There's very little dead areas. I must admit, it's actually quite incredible in regards to how far it stretches. So please use that. Of course, it's going to save you a ton of money. You should be using your phones to kind of pocket, use it as a pocket network. I would advise that you use the Wi-Fi system, because it's incredibly quick and actually quite useful around the university. If you need any more information, please use the link down the bottom that says students.flinders.edu.au/support, okay, and then select on the admin and technology section. Okay, some laptops may have some issues, especially if they're a little bit older, so you may need some additional guidance from the IT team. All right, step 3, getting prepared for study. So this is a quite important section, guys, and over the next few slides, we're going to be talking a little bit more about the BSHAPA degree, okay? So please get familiar with your statement of assessment methods, otherwise known as your SAM. Your statement of assessment methods is your one-stop shop to understanding exactly what your assignments are. Okay, what are the due dates? What is the weighting for each assignment? What are your requirements to make sure that you don't receive a penalty? These are really important that you understand this for each topic, and please do not wait for the day before submitting the assignment before you check the SAMs. Check it now, get a bit of a sense, make sure you copy and paste it, put it somewhere in familiar, maybe in behind your computer, so that you can keep track of exactly all your assessments. Now, the SAM should be available for all flow sites. However, there is a bit of delay at the moment for some flow sites. So if you can't access your SAM, it may be uploaded later today. Flow, again, we've got a lot of acronyms, guys, so apologies about that. Flow is obviously the Flinders Learning Online, okay? It's the portal that we use to communicate with you guys. So this is where all your topic sites are housed, all right? Get familiar with Flow and your resources. Now, normally I would share my screen and show you Flow at this point in time, but we are actually having some issues with sharing function and actually showing our screen, so I can't do that at the moment. But Flow is very easy to understand. Once you get on the Flow page, we use a very similar format for all topics, okay? So you should be able to see assessments module, okay? An assessment module is basically everything about the assessments. You should see a module about topic information. Should be able to see a module directed towards each week, okay, and what you've undertaken for that week. And it's done in the same format for all topics, so you shouldn't have any issues. However, there are a few topics that sit outside our college that may use a different format, but very rarely that is the case. More often than not, we use a pretty similar format across the board. Your FAN, okay, it's like your identifier, it's your ID number, okay. We already talked about that when it came to accessing the Wi-Fi network. CPSW is the college that you're based in, based on where the degree is housed. So that's the College of Education, Psychology and Social Work, okay? So if you hear that acronym, that's what it's referring to. You've probably seen it a few times already, so you probably know what it means. Then we have core and electives. Core and electives, obviously the core topics. Electives are the elective topics that you choose, and we'll show you a study plan for BSHAPA in a second. Just make sure that obviously you select the core topics, guys. If you don't select the core topics, you're going to eventually have to come back. We've had students who've missed core topics and unfortunately have had to come back and complete an additional year just to complete one topic. We don't want that to happen, so just make sure you select the right topics. And again, if you need any guidance or help, please use the enrollment. We'll use the link to the enrollments team to get a bit of a sense that you're on the right track. And I would consistently try to do that every semester or every year just to make sure you are selecting the right topics and you haven't accidentally select the wrong topics in the right sequence that will eventually cause you a bit of a headache down the track. Now, obviously we have topics and courses. One of my topics is human functional anatomy and sport and exercise. That's a topic, okay? The course is of course BSHAPA, and apologies that this is pretty much pretty simple terminology at the moment, but just want to make sure everyone's on the same page because we do have a few people that potentially may not be familiar. I'm the topic coordinator, okay? We also have a course coordinator, and I'm also that as well, okay? So we have topic coordinators and course coordinators. Topic coordinators sit below course coordinators, but we feed up and talk to each other, okay? So I'll work with the topic coordinators for individual topics. If you have an issue with a topic, you can communicate with me, and I'll see if I can resolve your issue for you, okay? Obviously, underneath topic coordinators, we also have CATs. Now, you probably were thinking, why are we talking about CATs? I'm not referring to the animal, I'm referring to casual academic teachers. So if you hear the term CAT, that is what we're referring to. Very rarely, we obviously talk about CATs directly with students. But if you hear I say that name such as, oh, who is your CAT? Again, I'm referring to a casual academic teacher, okay? And of course, then we have the Bachelor of Sport, Health and Physical Activity as the acronym down below, okay? So get familiar with the acronym, get familiar with the whole degree. If you haven't already done so, please go to the degree website. The degree website is flinders.edu.au/study/course/Bachelor of Sport, Health and Physical Activity. Now, finding your way around Flinders to help kind of settle in and get prepared for uni, complete the orientation topics found in Flinders online, okay? So they are called Finding Your Way at Flinders. It is a fantastic site, flow site, for you guys to get familiar about everything that's happening around at Flinders in orientation week, as well as key information to help with starting your first few weeks of study, okay? So please use that resource. All students should have access to it. If you don't, please let me know and I'll follow up for you. Alrighty, here is the study template for the Bachelor of Sport and Health Physical Activity. So a lot of these topics you may already be familiar with. So we obviously are going to start with sport and society, an introduction to sport and physical activity. You may have international tourism management and then marking principles. And then we also have inclusive and adaptive practices in sport and physical education, nutrition, physical activity and health, and then you have academic and professional communication. These are some of the topics that you probably have come across. Now, some of these study plans may change based on the direction that you want to take. We also have elective options. So you can see here, anything that is in the white is classified as core. Anything in the green means you only can select from these two topics. Anything in the yellow means they're electives. So these are topics that we have available for you to use to potentially go into an area of specialization. So something that you want to specialize in or something you've got more of an interest in. So this could be health, tourism, nutrition, disability, business, sports science, whatever you're interested in, we can direct your focus when you obviously are selecting your electives. Okay, so please select your electives carefully. have a good think about exactly what you want to study and the reasons why, and we'll try to make sure that we can obviously cater for those electives as required, okay? If they're done in the right sequence, we'll always be able to cater for them, but if it's done in the wrong sequence and you want to overload and potentially do a second year topic on top of what you're doing in third year, that is a little bit more challenging, but we can look at your request and see if we can make that possible as well. So there are 5 elective spaces, as you would have seen. And again, we would like you to focus and think about these in the first year. Of course, you don't have to select electives until the second year. I think that's a good thing so that you can get a bit more familiar about the Bachelor of Sport and Physical Activity and kind of get a bit of a sense of what you're interested in. But then you're going to have to kind of select electives based on your interest. So these electives can be aligned to outdoor education. So if you love outdoor education and you believe it's something that you could do in the future, please select electives directed towards outdoor education, okay? And you'll have Joss for outdoor education. And as you know, I've previously mentioned Joss, he's absolutely brilliant, a ball of fun, and I think that you'll really get along with him if you do choose that pathway, okay? Then we have sports science and coaching, which is an area that I'm from. Now, I'm more of a sports scientist than a coach per se, even though I teach strength and conditioning coaching. Sports science is my area. So if you want to target that particular domain, let me know, guys. I'll sit down and have a meeting with you and I'll tell you all about sports science. And I'll be honest, by the way, always will be honest with you guys, letting you guys know exactly what the pros and cons of my particular area and to help you make a decision on exactly where you want to head. Then we have nutrition, we have disability education, tourism, and business. They're the other areas that you can focus on. There are a few additional ones, but they're the major ones that you can obviously choose topics that are related to your degree. So a lot of your electives will fall in those 6 categories, okay? Now, whatever electives you choose will steer you towards your industry placement in third year. And yes, you do have an industry placement that's 100 hours. So please start to think about, again, after the first year, it's not something you have to think about right now and make a decision on. But around year 3, can you please, in year 2 and heading to year 3, make sure you're very clear about what you want to achieve and where you want to head, and make sure you direct your placement accordingly. Now, undertaking a placement in a different domain is not a bad thing either, because I love diversity of skill sets. So even if you're involved in the field of sports science, taking a placement that's more directed towards maybe business or tourism actually may diversify your skill sets and may be a good thing. You never know where your careers can take you. So don't shy away from that either, but more often than not, we really do recommend that you try to focus on at least one of your placements being directed towards the area that you're most passionate about, okay? Now, obviously, you can choose from the defined list of electives, and these are not all of them, by the way. These are just some of them, and these are spread across the 2 years, so year 2 and year 3. So you can see here we have physiological testing in sport, which is a topic I take, okay? So if you're interested in testing practices and high-performance athletes, we'll obviously talk about that in that topic and kind of show you some unique skill sets to help you understand athlete performance and how to analyze it. You may be interested in consumer behavior, critical issues and disability. We've got outdoor education, outdoor ventures, nutrition across lifestyles. I'm not going to go through all of them, but as you can see, there's a lot of different topics there that you can undertake, and you can pick and choose which ones that you want to undertake. And I also should note, and it goes with what I just said prior, if you want to kind of be more of a generalist than a specialist, that is completely fine and not a bad way to plan for your future careers, because if you have more diversity in your skill sets, that may be more attractive to a future employer compared to being very specialist. Now, being a specialist also has its advantages, but what I'm trying to say is you can take business, you can take tourism topics, you can take topics in sports science, nutrition, and you can mix them up if you believe that's going to help with your knowledge in a particular domain, or you believe diversity of skills is what you're looking for out of this degree. So do not be afraid to pursue that option if you believe there's a defined reason for why you wish to do that, okay? All right, if you do want me to go through these electives more or the study plan, guys, let me know and I'm more than happy to do that for you, okay? Step 4, get to know your support services. Now, you guys are very fortunate that the support services that you guys have access to now are absolutely first class and absolutely brilliant. So I'm going to go through just 2 major ones that I come across and I would highly advise that you get familiar with. Studiosity. It is unbelievable what you can do with that software. That software and that company, that team that looks after it, basically is an on-demand study help site for you available for all Flinders undergrad students, especially BSHAPA students. So there are 2 different services available through Studiosity. Assignment draft feedback. So you can submit an assignment and get feedback on that assignment from a domain-specific expert. That is incredible. So you actually have a few, I guess you can call it like credits available each, I think it's every month. I could be wrong there, but it will obviously guide you through the website. But I believe you have credits available, and you may be able to use a certain amount of credits each week or each month in order to have an expert read through your assignment and provide feedback. Again, very helpful, and that will reward students who use it, trust me, okay? I've had students who've used it in the past, and they have absolutely loved the service. If you're well organized, get your draft done early, 2 weeks out, send it through, they'll give you some feedback, and then use that feedback to improve your writing or improve the structure of what you're trying to say. Incredible how helpful it is. You can also have a live chat with the subject specialist. Again, if you're doing human functional anatomy, and you don't want to speak to me, you want to speak to someone else that's outside the topic. And the reason that would be the case in this instance is that to do with the assignment. And I can't give you guys too much information about the correct answer or how, I'll tell you how I want structure to something like an assignment and how you should structure it. But more often than not, I prefer that you do speak to the subject specialist outside the topic when you are talking about your assignment and your drafts and what you're trying to do, because they will be able to give you more information than I will be able to give in regards to how you should be writing things. Hopefully that makes sense. So when it comes to the structure of the assessment, I'm going to give you all the information that you need to make the right decision and give you examples. But when it comes to domain-specific expertise, I can't meet with every single student. So in one of my topics, I've got 80 students. I can't meet with you all to go through every single thing that you need to do for your assignment when it comes to how you would write things in reference to something. So in that case, you can have a live chat with the subject specialist, and they can answer your questions about, what is mitochondria. Well, they will help you understand that with using the resources that I've already provided on Flow. Okay, hopefully that made sense, because it's something that a lot of people will think, well, why wouldn't I take that on, or why wouldn't the topic coordinator take that on? Trust me, we're happy to take it on. It's just trying to find time within our schedules to obviously answer your questions when it comes to just the assignments. If it's to do outside of the assignments, such as anything to do with topic content from the lectures or the workshop handouts, you contact me directly. Okay, it's a very different scenario. So just so it's clear, lectures, workshops, please speak to me. When it comes to your assignments and how you should word things, and obviously if you need some additional specialist knowledge, use Studiosity. Now the next one is Flinders Health and Counselling Disability Services. Probably the most important support service at the university. This is where you can get and speak to doctors if you aren't feeling well. And I believe it's bulk billed. So obviously they bulk bill to your Medicare number, and therefore it's free service for all students. So if you're not feeling well, if you need to speak to a counsellor, and obviously we know that mental health is a big issue in society, they have a huge amount of resources they can provide you with, as well as they can book you in for appointments to see how they can best support you. As well as if you do have any type of impairment or a disability, please contact them straight away. Okay, they will make sure that you're well supported throughout your studies. Okay, so you may need an access plan, and if you need an access plan, very common for students to have access plans because there's a whole range of reasons why you would need one. And that information will be fed back to me as topic coordinator or degree coordinator, and I'll make sure that information is passed on to the people who should know in order to make sure you're best supported. Okay, so amazing resource, fantastic doctors, they're really experts, guys, so please use that resource. Please use the link below if you want to know some additional information. And one more thing I will note about that resource, so again, Flinders Health, Counselling and Disability Services, is there is a 24-hour line as well. So if there's something that's happened that you really need to speak to someone about, there is a 24-hour helpline, okay, that's always staffed. All right, so please get familiar with that resource and make sure you go through that link to understand exactly what they provide. We also have Oasis. Oasis is like a student wellbeing centre, and again, just a brilliant team down there, guys. So they really help kind of deal with, any particular issues that you're having at a student level, ways to help cope with anxiety or stress, or if you just want to go there and, do some yoga, or just want some study support, they will help you guys. So Oasis is a fantastic organisation that's built within Flinders University. As you can see to the right of the slide, okay, they have yoga, they have conversation groups, meditation, you name it, they generally are doing it down there. Great for health and wellbeing, guys. So feel free to use those resources and speak to the team down there because you won't regret it. They are really helpful for all students, and it is a student-focused group, okay? So they will work with you if there's something that they don't currently provide, but they believe it's a good option. You never know in regards to what they can create on your behalf, okay? Safety is another one around the university. We have a pretty safe campus. We have cameras everywhere. We have fantastic security staff at all times. But if you witness any type of socially unacceptable behaviour, if you have harassment, okay, in any shape or form, please make a report. Just note that by making a report, it does not initiate a complaint. It is the first step to offer you confidential support and information on what you can do next and how we can help. So if you're feeling like someone's making you feel uncomfortable, please use the links or please call the number, which is 8201-2118. And they'll make sure that you're well supported and obviously take note of the situation, and they'll obviously provide some guidance on what's the best way to move forward from this particular situation. If you are walking home, let's say if you have a late night tutorial and you're walking back to your car and you don't feel comfortable, guys, you can call security, okay, and they can actually walk you to your car, okay, so they'll come down, meet you somewhere, obviously somewhere that you feel safe and comfortable, and then they'll take you to the car. That's services that they can provide to students if you're feeling uncomfortable about a situation, or you just don't feel like what you've seen is acceptable behaviour. Please use that resource, guys, at all times if you believe it's required. Even if you're not sure, just ask, okay? Just ask, submit a request, okay, or speak to someone and just get a bit of context in regards to if this is a situation that needs to be followed up on. Now, there are opportunities for leadership and engagement. You actually can be a student rep for the Bachelor of Sport, Health and Physical Activity course, and even if you're a first year student, guys, of course, you may be a perfect person to be involved. So if that is the case, let me know and I can see if I can get you involved in some type of leadership throughout the degree, okay? There will be an expressions of interest for a student rep, and you'll eventually see that as we progress through the semester. But there are opportunities to also partake in kind of international ventures. Now, of course, with COVID, there's some restrictions at the moment. Of course, I don't need to go through why that's the case. But there are opportunities for you to go to Vanuatu, which hopefully will be enabled in the next few hopefully next few months, but potentially obviously next year should be available for all students. So we go to Vanuatu and work with VASNOC, which is the Vanuatu Olympic Committee, or One Small Bag, which is an organisation that provides drama, sporting opportunities for those who potentially are a little bit disadvantaged, either financially or physically. In that particular case, guys, you get to go over to Vanuatu and spend 3 weeks immersing yourself in their culture. It's absolutely brilliant. It's actually something that I've assisted in running, and I can't stress enough how important it is that students try to get out of their shells and experience something like that. So that's part of an international placement program that we have with Vanuatu. If you're working with Joss does do a lot of outdoor education camps, so you're obviously going to get an opportunity to experience outdoor education, so rock climbing. I'm not going to pretend I know a lot about outdoor education, but I know he does a lot of rock climbing, kayaking, BMXing, you name it. There's opportunities to obviously undertake in those additional activities, and then he also has placement opportunities in outdoor education as well. We also have the Ashford Award. Ashford Award is given to the student who has had excellent academic, has excellent GPA. So if you finish your degree and you have a high GPA, you never know, you may get tapped on the shoulder to be eligible for the Ashford Award, and it comes with a whole lot of perks, okay? I won't go into detail about all those perks because you eventually will see an email about it just to notify that this potentially may be happening. It will be happening again this year, but we normally send an email just a bit of detail about what the Ashford Award is and who is the award recipient. Those who have a high GPA will always be well looked after when it comes to opportunities, guys. So please try to aim for a high GPA. If you're not getting a high GPA, guys, it's all good, by the way, because there'll be other opportunities available for you. And not every student may be eligible in order to apply for certain awards just based on that requirement. But don't be stressed, because trust me, we have a whole range of other opportunities for students to partake in that doesn't require you to have a 6 GPA, okay? 6 GPA is only a defined number. It's not an indication of your leadership qualities, okay? So we'll keep you informed in regards to what that may look like. We also have opportunities in other Pacific Islands, okay? This is the Arsenal group here, okay? So the Arsenal team that went across to Arsenal to do community service programs for Arsenal Football Club. Of course, again, an international placement experience that hasn't been running for the last 2 years, but hopefully by the time that you guys are in a position to do placements, it will be back up and running for you, and I assume it would be, and these opportunities become more prevalent. Now, the placement opportunities from an international perspective may change quite a lot between what we've previously done and what we're doing in the future, but I would say they're only going to grow and expand and become more diverse in what we offer. Okay, so just keep an eye out for that. When it comes to extending yourself and considering employability, I can't stress enough, guys, my first job was through networking. So I was fortunate enough to know someone, and as I was going through my degree, I decided to take a placement experience In my particular case, it was with the Port Adelaide Football Club. This was the SNFL, not the AFL. And I networked, and I got to know people in the club. I got to know their contacts, and by networking them, allowed me to transition into where I'm currently sitting at the moment, just because I spoke to the right people and I was committed to what I was doing. Okay, so network away, and networking can be with future employees or just with other students. You never know what other contacts students have. Okay, and if you get to know someone and they get a job at the end of their degree, and you guys got along for quite a while, and they know that you're obviously excellent at what you do, they may recommend you. Okay, so network as much as you possibly can, get to know everyone. You never know what opportunities may actually come from that. Placement experience, obviously you're going to have to undertake a placement experience, but if you are going to do placement, guys, do it 110%. If you are good at your placement, you'll be more likely to get a really nice referee report from your placement advisor. On top of that, they actually may employ you. We have had instances where people have stayed on after the placement and actually been employed in a paid capacity. So I know it's a while away from you guys, but start to think about skills that you're going to need to exceed in your placement. If you're not great with communication and communicating with others, try and find a method that works for you. It's really important you do that. And again, if you do that well, guys, people will like to employ you. People will be more willing to give you opportunities. Okay. So every time that you put on the Flinders shirt, every time that you're doing something that's related to your study, make sure that you're ready to 100% go and you're representing yourself as well as the Flinders brand as best you possibly can. Okay, because more often than not, you work in your favour. Volunteer opportunities are also brilliant. I know it's difficult to do volunteer opportunities, especially being a student. You guys have a lot on your plate. I'm aware of that. Okay, I have a lot of understanding and sympathy for students who obviously have to potentially work as well as study, and some people may even have family and have kids to look after. I understand it's quite difficult to do volunteer opportunities, or even be employed within the industry you want to work in. That's even more challenging, especially if you don't have the required experience or degree. But try to do it. If you're doing volunteer opportunities, again, it's the same thing as placement. If you're good at what you're doing, more often than not, they will tap you on the shoulder eventually and say, hey, are you interested in this role? Or we've heard there's a new position at X club. Would you be interested in this role? I'll put your name forward for it. Get to know people, volunteer where you possibly can, because people love that and they're more likely to look after you when it comes to opportunities. Okay. There are accreditation requirements. Okay. So we have accreditation within the topic. So just be mindful that we have a variety of choices versus specialization. If you specialize, you may obviously be more eligible for accreditation down the track, but we'll tell you what the accreditations are and what topics you need to undertake. It's up to you what you want to do there, but if you want to get an accreditation in outdoor education, well, of course, it may be better to select certain topics compared to obviously select a variety of topics to be more of a generalist. Also think about your continuation of study. If you want to do honours or even postgrad study, you should think about what topics you're going to undertake. So again, I'm going to talk into my domain, sports science. Some students undertake the Bachelor of Sport and Physical Activity and then want to move into a exercise science degree or even a master's degree in some type of sports science or exercise science related domain, or even something that's related to sports science holistically. If you undertake the right topics, you may already have prerequisites met as well as credits met so that you could obviously advance your study. And what I mean by that is undertake topics, not undertake topics that you've already had domain specific expertise in. So it may help fast track you through those postgraduate options. Now that doesn't happen all the time, I should note, but if you select the right topics, not only are you more likely to be eligible for credits if there is an opportunity that does arise, you're generally going to be able to excel in your postgrad study because you already have the fundamental knowledge. So do keep that in the back of your mind when you are selecting your electives. Now, I would obviously focus on certain electives as I previously talked about, okay, and some electives are also related to research domains. So if you're interested in honours, okay, I would recommend that you do undertake Kate Ridley's topic, Applied Exercise Science, as a potential topic. I believe it's one of those topics that you probably have to take up anyway, but that's a topic that's directed towards understanding research skills and things that you need to be mindful of in regards to conducting appropriate practices with research. So another opportunity for you guys to look at. If you are looking to go into postgrad research, please speak to us and we'll obviously inform you about what topics may be suitable based on where you want to head. All right. Additional information, guys. So please continue to revisit Finding Your Way at Flinders Flow site, and this is post this session, okay, or post today or post this week. Go back to it, always look back at the content. So even if you're 6 weeks in, there may be some new resources available or something you might have missed, or something you've already read and you've forgotten about and you want to know where that support service is. So please use the links available. Stay connected with your orientation planner, okay? So make sure you know what's available and what's coming up, okay? And make sure that if you are wanting to attend additional sessions, you know what time they are and you can make yourself available. Obviously, we have links to O-Guides, so please use the link if you want some additional open day guides, okay, or orientation guides. We would also advise that you use the Compass if you want additional information about personalized timetables or even course or topic information. So if you go to Compass, Compass will allow you to obviously search a particular topic or course, and it'll give you some additional information about that course or who you need to contact about that course, okay? And finally, look out for information about student course advisory. So look for information in regards to anything you need to be mindful of new developments in the course that may be of interest to you, or just even look out for any announcements related to the course that is going to advise students about potential changes or things that may be happening that you may be interested in. We also have a Bachelor of Sport and Physical Activity flow page. I believe everyone who is eligible and obviously enrolled in the Bachelor of Sport and Health Physical Activity will have access to it, and we'll send out announcements about job opportunities. So in that particular case, I'll send out an announcement saying, hey, we have a job opportunity coming up, either volunteer or paid capacity. And in that particular case, you guys have obviously first, I guess, crack at obviously demonstrating your expertise and skills, or even submitting your resume in order to be eligible for that opportunity. So we will be sending through a lot of opportunities for all students, and that could be from business, it could be sport, it could be outdoor education, it could be disabilities. Whatever it is, guys, keep an eye out for those announcements because we're going to send out a fair few throughout the year, and you never know what's around the corner for you, okay? Alrighty, guys, this is now an opportunity for you to ask any questions. I know there's a lot of content unpacked there, but it's probably enough to get you started. I also should note that with the COVID requirements, please keep a lookout for please look at the topic flow sites as well as your announcements to know exactly what your requirements are for week 1. As I previously mentioned, because of COVID, we have to abide by COVID safe operating procedures. And that means some topics have had to go online for very good reason, while other topics are still face-to-face. Given that's the case, you need to be mindful of exactly what topics have changed and what topics are remaining the same, but more often than not, you would have already received some type of communication about that, either again through an announcement or your flow sites. You do need to wear a mask, okay, at all your practical classes, of course. So if you are attending class, please wear a mask unless you have a medical exemption, okay? On top of that, we are going to try to socially distance as much as we possibly can, okay? So some practical classes and tutorial classes will be spread out at 1.5. I know it may look silly a little bit having everyone spread out, but we have to do that. With some practical tasks is slightly modified in order to try to operate in the safest possible manner to make sure that we try our best to obviously mitigate any potential spread, okay? On top of that, if you're unwell, please do not attend the practical classes. Given COVID is obviously an issue for everyone around the world, but especially in SA, we obviously have a few ongoing cases, and obviously the spread is quite likely to occur obviously outside of the university, but also inside the university. If you're not feeling well, guys, we're going to work with you. I don't want you to attend a class if you're demonstrating that you have COVID-like symptoms, even though that you haven't been positive yet. In that particular case, you're not positive yet, so go and get tested and don't attend your class, okay? Some classes do have attendance requirements, and if you do miss them, then it may affect your ability to graduate, so be mindful of those classes and work with the topic coordinators. But more often than not, we're going to urge on the side of caution, and if you are saying that you're not feeling well and you can't come in, we're going to trust that's the case, okay, and we're going to work with you. But be mindful that you can't miss multiple classes, guys. So if you do miss a class, there's going to be catch-up work and other things you're going to do. I would highly advise you attend all your classes because we have designed the classes to make sure that you guys excel. Everyone I work with, all the topic coordinators, they're very good at what they do, guys. They are experts in their own particular domain, and they have thought long and hard about making sure that you have a learning experience that is worthwhile, okay? So we want you to attend the workshops. We need you to attend the workshops more often than not so that you have a learning experience that will hold you in good stead for your future careers, all right? With the flow pages, like I said, most flow pages are pretty consistent in how they look. So please get familiar with the flow pages. If you come across a flow page that just doesn't, it's not working quite well, there's an error, there may be a very good reason for why there's an error, and obviously there may be someone trying to resolve it. But if you can't get a resolution to the issue, or if you're just not happy with something, please get in contact with me and I'll see if I can resolve the issue on your behalf, okay? Besides that, guys, That is all for this short orientation session. I hope you enjoyed it. Hopefully I've answered most of your questions. If I haven't, guys, can you please stay back and ask any question that you like? I'm happy to stay on here for half an hour afterwards and answer all your questions to make sure that you guys start on the right foot. I haven't been able to see your faces, and that's completely fine, so I'm not sure who I'm talking to, and I haven't heard anyone speak, which is fine. But if you want to use your mic, guys, feel free to use your mic, because I'm sure there may be other students who have the same questions for you, okay? On top of that, if you want to just ask me a question in the chat function, then that's completely fine as well. So guys, do you guys have any other questions that you would like to ask while I'm here? And of course, like I said, I'm happy to stay on as long as you need. No one's got any questions? It could be random questions, by the way, guys. I don't mind random questions. So it could be, you know, I'm sure there's a few people who are transitioning from school to university. I can go through some differences between the two, what the expectations are if you guys want to do that. I can see a lot of people dropping off online as well, so that's fine as well. Maybe someone's waiting for everyone to drop off before they ask a question. That's completely fine as well, guys. If you don't feel comfortable using the chat function, you can send me an email as well to kim.williams, that's KYM.Williams, and I can answer that question via email as well, guys. But I would prefer that you ask me the questions here, if you feel comfortable to do so. We've got 4 people left. Three people left, guys. Come, if you have a question, it's probably a good time to ask it, of course, unless you are waiting to ask a question after everyone's left. While I wait to see if any questions come through, guys, and those are still online, I will note that university should be enjoyable. University is very different to school. I'm sure you guys are aware of this, but obviously it's a jump up. There's a jump up, but it's a slow jump up. So don't be stressed, okay? Don't feel like, you know, it's going to be too much, because it will be a step up, but it should be a slow transition. And if it's a big step up, just be mindful other students are probably feeling the same thing, okay? But more often than not, we obviously have structured topics to obviously work in kind of a stepwise progression, so that by the time you're in 3rd year for the Bachelor of Sport and Physical Activity, the final topics are building on the content you've previously undertaken. On top of that, they're going to be a little bit more advanced, and probably our expectations for your writing style, or even just knowledge in a particular domain, may be a little bit more advanced. We're expecting more for your assignments, okay? But we're very understanding people. There's no one I work with who is not understanding. There's no one I work with who, you know, won't give you the time of day or ask you questions, okay? We're all here for you guys, and I truly mean that. There's no one I work with who won't give you the time of day if you need some assistance, all right? We love teaching. It's what gets us up in the morning. So if you, just please understand that. If you are feeling stressed, okay, please use resources or support networks that are available. If you'd like to speak to me, come and speak to me, guys. I'm more than happy to meet with you guys and guide you through any questions you have, or any issues that you're currently facing. Again, my role is to make sure you guys are all supported. Alrighty, guys. Well, I'm going to just continue staying online. What I may do is I may take my video off, but I'm going to remain online for the next until 12 o'clock, unless we keep talking and you guys keep asking questions, and I'm happy to stay online until like 12:30. But what I may do is turn off my camera, and then if you have any questions, we can talk via the chat function, or you can use your mic and I can come back on. I can put my video back on, and I can answer your question then. Okay. So if you're comfortable with me doing that, guys, I'm just going to obviously turn off my camera so you're not just staring at me. And then obviously I'm more than happy to answer your questions as we progress through. I'm more than happy for you guys to stay here and have my video up, but I think I'll just be standing here looking at the screen, which may not be good for everyone. All right. So I'm just going to turn off my camera now, unless you guys have questions. If you do have a question, I'll jump back on and put my camera back on for you. All right. I'm also just going to stop the recording